The show starts with a young man out on a hunt to kill various monsters. While he's beating them up, he rants about living in Tokyo and reveals that he prefers living here in the jungle to the shithole that Tokyo is. The young boy, Yotsuya, is a solitary person who doesn't prefer the company of others and rather likes spending time by himself. On his way to school, he daily overhears various rumors about people, and that has pretty much become his routine. At school, he doesn't have anyone he is close to, and he spends the entire day by himself. As he's returning from school, he overhears some students talking about one of his classmates, Shindo, who is at the tennis club. The following day, Yotsuya notices her talking to another student from their class and wonders whether they're close. He is soon asked by his teacher to submit his application about joining a track club, but he isn't interested. The teacher believes that he is a fine athlete and could do well in a track club, but Yotsuya just wants to head back home and play games. Once again, his eyes are attracted to Shindo and the girl she is talking to. The teacher advises that he better get some friends since going through high school without anyone being around is difficult, and he doesn't even consider it. Yotsuya just wants to stay away from people and tells the others straight up that he will just get into a local high school. As his teacher leaves, he must clean up the class, and after he turns around, he doesn't find anyone there. He is surprised because just now, Shindo was sitting with another girl. Suddenly, drawings begin appearing on the board, and he is transformed into another world. As he opens his eyes, he finds a giant monster ready to feast on him. Luckily, Shindo and his other classmate, Hakozaki, arrive just in time to save him. The two explain that they are in a game but don't provide much context to him. As he is about to ask for an explanation, a mysterious being appears behind him, calling himself the Game Master, and explains that in this game he will need to complete various steps toward a quest to gain team members. Since they each have a class, Yotsuya's class is decided through a lottery, and they are all disappointed that his class is none other than the weakest one, Farmer. Before Yotsuya has a chance to ask for much needed information, the other disappears and instructs him to complete the quest. Shindo and Hakozaki don't expect much from him and just think of him as a dead weight. The three head on their way to complete the quest they have been assigned, and Shindo explains that she was the first one to get here. After the Game Master informed her to convince Hakozaki to join her, she pursued her and was eventually successful in persuading her to join the game. The two revealed that the reason they were sitting in his class was that they were assigned to bring him in, and as he was being lectured by the teacher, they had little choice. They explained the class mechanics to him and demonstrated how he could pick weapons. Yotsuya is disappointed that he doesn't have a flashy weapon and has to be grateful that he even has a sickle and a hoe to defend himself in case anything happens. The three stumble upon the log points where they can see the past scenes of their teammates. They are suddenly attacked by goblins, and Yotsuya realizes how powerless he is. After being stuck on the head, Yotsuya immediately dies, though he naturally revives after 30 seconds. Shindo explains that he will continue to revive as long as one of their teammates exists. Unfortunately, the other two don't have much power, and Yotsuya has to sacrifice himself so they can defeat their foes. After successfully killing a goblin, the three celebrate their victory, but the fight leaves them with many questions about whether they will remain the same or improve later on. Shindo advises that the three should watch out for each other while they're on this journey, since all of them defeated at once would mean a certain death in the real world. At night, they set up camp, and Yotsuya asks about the reward for completing the quest. Shindo responds they don't get anything fancy as a reward, but just the right to ask the Game Master a single question. After Shindo reveals that she was informed that someone requested her presence in this world, and Hakozaki answers that he is a being from a distant future, various questions pop up in Yotsuya's mind, and he has to decide what he wants to ask. For now, he heads out to keep a watch for the night. In the middle of the night, while Yotsuya is out hunting goblins, a troll attacks the others, and Hakozaki is dead. Shindo advises that he get someplace far away since they need to survive, and she is eaten alive. Yotsuya runs for his life while dragging Hakozaki with him, and the two eventually reach the nearby village where they are greeted as heroes. The village chief informs them about the troll and instructs them to defeat it. Yotsuya doesn't have much of its completion as he is stuck with the useless Hakozaki and decides to confront the enemy by himself, so they don't die in real life. Even though this life is more difficult to adapt to, Yotsuya rather feels more comfortable here than in Tokyo. As he arrives in the woods, Yotsuya stumbles upon a log point. Upon looking into it, he finds that it is a conversation between Hakozaki and Shindo discussing who they want their third teammate to be. Hakozaki has a crush on an athletic student, and she reveals her hatred for perverted people. On the other hand, Shindo wants the guy to be Yotsuya, and he is massively taken aback by this. As there are two Yotsuyas in the school, she is asked about one, but Yotsuya doesn't get to hear that part and it fades away. Though knowing that there is a 50-50 chance it's him, he is looking forward to impressing her even more. As he gazes down at the village, he reminisces about when he went out with his classmates. Suddenly, he spots some goblin near him and talks about luck. He immediately takes advantage of their presence as he defeats them and gains some levels, though the last one runs away and he is just one rank away from reaching 10. Suddenly, he notices that Hakozaki has died, and upon looking down at the village, he finds a sight of flames burning it to a crisp. As he leaps off the hill, he wonders whether they will die in case the quest fails, but he has other things to think about right now. With no one nearby, he stumbles upon a log point where Hakozaki reveals the reason she cannot use her sword. Since she always was sick, she never really had the stamina to swing a sword and protect him during their quests. After the troll arrived at the village, she sacrificed her life to protect the children. During her last moments, she had faith that Yotsuya would save her. Presently, Yotsuya realizes how selfish she is and swears to protect others. The troll arrives and he starts running. The enemy is fast enough and Yotsuya is eventually caught in his attack. As he is smashed by the troll, he reminisces, but he quickly resolves to continue living for the sake of his teammates and heads to the nearby forest. After being chased by the troll for some time, Yotsuya finally manages to figure out his moving pattern. A goblin wanders around nearby and he kills him to reach rank 10. Suddenly, the time stops and the game master congratulates him on reaching rank 10. Yotsuya is no longer a farmer but is stuck with the title of chef from now on. Fortunately, chefs have a knife, and with their new skills, they can see the weak point of the enemies. He slices the troll's stomach to extract his teammates' remains, and they quickly revive. Yotsuya continuously sacrifices himself to weaken the enemy, and eventually, he is successful in defeating it. After they finish the quest, the game master once again arrives, and this time, Yotsuya asks what will happen in case they reach the 10th step of each quest. The game master shows them a clip from his world, and it appears no different than the current Tokyo. They are even more surprised at seeing themselves fighting a giant monster. However, they aren't given any explanation, and the three return to their world. Shindo heads home and instructs Yotsuya to walk the other to her door. He has never been side by side walking with a girl, and on the entire way, Yotsuya is feeling shy. Yotsuya informs her how much he has taken a liking to the other world, but he still cannot shake off the feeling that a bigger threat is looming over their heads. After they finished their quest and were sent back to the real world, they spent days like usual and got a bit closer to each other. Hakozaki informs Shindo about Yotsuya's feelings of preferring the other world more, and she could hardly believe that these words come out of his mouth. Another girl notices her talking about Yotsuya and is surprised because he hardly talks to anyone. Meanwhile, Yotsuya is on a walk when he receives a call from the game master. Yotsuya believes that they finally got another mission, but the other instructs him to hit on a girl who is in a nearby building. After following his instructions, he manages to reach the room where some girls are harassing their classmates. Yotsuya believes that the sole reason he is sent here is to save her, and he begins smashing the other girls' phones since they are filming. After he is done with each of them, they all run away, and he is successful in protecting the girl. He decides to escort her home since he isn't sure when the quest will reach its completion. On their way, she explains the reason why the others were bullying her. Though it was more of a payback, Yotsuya is glad that he arrived on time to save her. Later in his life, he is bored and is suddenly transferred to the gaming world, where he meets the girl from before. Now he realizes that she was already planning to be the fourth member of their team. Yuka, the new girl, is astonished when the game master sneaks out behind her. He then assigns her the role of the wizard before handing them the unexplained details of their quest once more. They are confused about their quest, but decide to head off to traverse 5% of the map. As they progress, Yuka explains her story to Shindo and assumes that she will never understand her because the other didn't get bullied. Though Shindo assures her that she fully comprehends whatever she has gone through, impressing others with the character. The group is attacked by centipedes, and thanks to Yotsuya's chef skills, they unflinchingly brave the foe. Shindo has a dream about getting into a fight during her childhood, and an older girl hears her out. The two soon become friends, but their friendship didn't last long as the other soon met the embrace of cold death. Yotsuya is surprised that she even cries during her sleep, and after he points this out, she abruptly asks for his help. With the help of friends, Shindo finally managed to start enjoying life, and she didn't want anything in her life to change. After asking Yotsuya's help in making sure they're always there for each other, the other agrees while Yuka and Hakozaki overhear their conversation. The following day, the four continue their journey and arrive at the village they have been to before. Fortunately, they meet a merchant there, and after they ask the directions for their destination, the other informs them that they will need horses since the distance is too great. Seeing the worries on their faces, the merchant notifies them about the tournament going to be held soon nearby, where the winner will receive 3 horses. They are excited about the tournament and make their way to the town. However, they were attacked by some bandits, and Shindo was separated from the group. Yotsuya wants to continue their journey until they win the tournament, while the other two prioritize the rescue of Shindo. Both groups get separated, with Yotsuya eventually reaching the tournament while the other two are imprisoned by the bandits. At the tournament, Yotsuya loses in the first round, and his opponent Kawell is impressed that he can revive. Yotsuya asks her for her help in reaching the Radodorbo, his destination, and the other one agrees on the condition that he helps them out by finding them a quest. Yotsuya directs them toward the hideout of the bandits, and Kawell, along with her subordinates, raids it. After most of them are defeated, the enemy reveals their ultimate trump card, a berserker, and Kawell takes him on. Yotsuya helps her in the battle, and the two manage to come out victorious. After rescuing the other three, Kawell agrees to escort them to Radodorbo on the condition that they train with her. Ever since she was a child, Hakozaki and her mother were diagnosed with some kind of illness. Although they tried various medicines, the cure simply wasn't possible. Hakozaki was inspired to invent a new drug to cure both of them and swore to work hard to enter the pharmaceutical university. Presently, she is disgusted with the knights killing the bandits so viciously, but she also understands that this is much needed for them. She can never comprehend the idea of killing each other, but resolves to protect the people around her. Afterward, Kawell has been using them for her sword practice and slicing them every once in a while, since they can revive easily. Hakozaki is sick of it, but doesn't have any choice. She feels that she needs to get stronger. After much training, her movement has gotten better, but there is still time before she can learn to swing her sword easily. Yotsuya reveals that Kawell misunderstood her father's words in childhood and has since loved the sight of slicing her enemies. Suddenly, they get a report of goblin sites nearby, and they head there. Hakozaki comes across one and manages to kill it. She is horrified at how cutting a living flesh feels, but also admits that it is necessary. The following day, they continue their journey and stumble upon a group of people being attacked by monsters. Hakozaki decides to help them and Yotsuya assists her. Initially, she is killed immediately, but after she is revived, she is successful in killing one, and Kawell delivers the final blow. After they tend to the other party's wounds, they reveal that they are taking prisoners to Radodorbo. Hearing this, they finally realize that it is the quest assigned by the game master. However, the thing that gets them skeptical is that one of the prisoners is a child, and they can hardly believe that someone like him could be a death convict. Camilto, the other party leader, and Kawell start arguing, with the latter revealing her hatred for the dictatorship and the kingdom of Dek. Camilto believes that anyone who defies the king must be punished and has a deep hatred for a religion that is almost annihilated within the kingdom. Shindo stops them, and Yotsuya decides to get an idea from his friends on how to tackle the situation. He believes that there are two scenarios here. Either they help them to get the Radodorbo or deny their request and rescue the prisoners. Since they don't have a solid answer here, they decide to head to the city first and then decide on their further actions. On their way, Yotsuya asks the priest about the situation, and he reveals that whatever his kingdom is doing is cruel, though he doesn't have any choice but to abide by his king's orders. The group then decides to heed Camildo, who reveals the whole situation of the kingdom. There are two groups within the kingdom, those who worship the god and the others who take their king for some deity. Since it is a dictatorship, the king has ordered the execution of the former ones, and the soldiers are on a hunt. After they get to a cave, Camilto finally reveals his true intentions of blocking the hero's path for sympathizing with the others. They are trapped within a cave that contains technological traps. Yotsuya tries to get ahead of others but is separated from them. As they finally reach the deepest chamber, they come across a mummified gargoyle, and soon the enemy wakes up with his sight on the horrified flesh before him. Will they manage to come victorious against such a vicious foe? What do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments, and I guess we'll find out in the next episodes. For now, if you enjoyed it, drop us a like and subscribe to Annie Recapped to find more awesome animes like this to watch on your feed. With that said, we'll see you in the next one. Peace!